there we go. I do believe we're live, so I'll say indeed and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a pleasure it is to have you here again on another conscious evolution. Yeah, another opportunity for us to consider the meaning of it all. Do you know what it all means? If you do, liar. Fucking liar. On a serious note, though, the meaning is totally love. Totally. Who am I to say? Today's stream topic is going to be the exploration thereof. We get to consider. We get to consider the truth of love. And the meaning that we extract from this thing we call life. I have been given so many experiences in my life that I've realized the things that I think my life is supposed to be rarely is. You know, Connor, stopping by real quick at work. Bless you, bro. It's nice to have you here, even for a second. You know, bless you. Hope you have a good rest of your day. It is Friday, so at least you'll get to have weekend soon. Bless you, friend. The meaning of it all. I watched a Adventure Time breakdown, a specific episode on Adventure Time where they were essentially talking about existentialism. Existentialism as it relates to loneliness, especially, and the crux of the fractal being that being born, simply starting to exist in and of itself, is one of the greatest things that will ever happen to you. Right? And like grasping with this fractal. Grasping of this fractal and this wondering if there we go. Like for some reason my internet went I don't know what's up with my internet, but it's you say driving me crazy. Yes. Connor friend. I wanna be present with you, bro. Okay, this thing says I'm live. I'm gonna have to trust it. Did you die? I wanted to make that joke. Did you die? What happened? Why did that happen? Was it road rage related? GBs. The meaning of life, huh? So many people grasping of the meaning of life at the same time. Internet is not internet thing, but yeah. Great start to the morning, lol. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Can't imagine that's easy. Can't imagine you were scared. Maybe a little bit, right? Heart starts pumping. Ah, my internet. Where's Sam? Where's Sam? She already got one of her freaking bingo slots hit. Why is my internet so bad? Like, please. I ask for very little. Very little. Very little I ask for. But just having like semi-stable internet is one of them. Heading back to work, brother. Hope the internet gets better and you have a great rest of your day, my guy. Thank you. It happens. Just keep moving forward. Bless. Stay safe out there. I don't trust this internet, yo. It's not even that windy. Find myself in a space right now. Give me a second. I don't know if that helped me, but it's something I wanted to do. I can feel my senses tightening up. My sight, my smell, specifically, right? Like it's literally like this part of my face, like when shit doesn't work the way they're supposed to. I'm calm. I'm patient. I'm so kind. This is fine. This is fine. Today's stream topic is about the meaning of life. Depending on how cynical you find yourself, you might find yourself believing the meaning of life is suffering. Life is to suffer, right? And if you believe that, you might think that bringing more life into this world is appalling. An absolute injustice, but we are biologically driven to do so. All right. So even if our minds can conceptualize why it might not be the best thing for everybody involved, we don't find ourselves caring. Maybe caring is the wrong word. Affected. Hey, there's Sam. I miss Connor by that much. Yeah, he just left. We already had a bad internet, so you got one of your bingo boxes checked. We got Griselle here too. Hey, Griselle. It's nice having you friends. Today we're considering the meaning of it all. Tall order, I know. I would like to argue that you are the meaning of it all. That if not for you, it all would not have the same meaning. You ever spend some time thinking about that? Really thinking about that? Thinking about the level of meaning you assign to this reality? I've been looking at this. You might have noticed me staring off into the distance. Should be able to kind of see it, right? Yeah, you can kind of see it. The mountains are burning in the distance, and there's technically mountains burning in that distance too. You can see the smoke coming up from behind the tree. Right, and I've been watching those burning mountains. And I haven't been assigning the meaning of judgment or the meaning of dissatisfaction with, the meaning of having a problem. I've just been observing. And it's interesting how that seems to be the lesson that's been very prevalent in my life as of late, is for me to become a little bit more of an observer. As I say that, I spot the little hummingbird. If I can become better at observing, I might see some nice stuff. I might see better stuff, right? Instead of being so active. Sometimes my activity gets the better of me. Right? It's like you might end up staying up too late. And then because you're up very late, you might go down a rabbit hole you did not intend. You know, fractal of like watching people clean cow hooves at 3 a.m. in the morning kind of vibes. Like you weren't supposed to see. Bethany is here. Hey, Auntie. Hey, it's nice having you. We were having a conversation just, what, 5 days, 7 days ago about you and Uncle Becky. I believe Goo asked how Uncle Becky is. And I mentioned that I do believe he's working away right now. We thought about you, friends. Sending you so much love. I think I missed a few comments up top. What is that? The black thing. this is a watch. This is an induction heater. So it has batteries, and then it has buttons. And then those buttons are attached to a circuit board, and that circuit board is attached to an electromagnet. And then that circuit board sends pulses to that magnet as electricity, essentially telling it to turn on and then turn back off again. Turn on and then back off again. And then it does that thousands of times per second. And then since this thing is made of metal, it's magnetic, which means that it every time that magnet turns back on and back off again. And every time it does that, it wiggles, creates friction and heat. I don't know if that's what you were wondering. I don't think I have any other black stuff on me. The meaning of it all. And we've come full circle to the moment I arrive here. 42. The answer to life, the universe, and everything is 42. Yeah, that book was a very, very good book. But I think people still misunderstood the real crux. That book was about asking the right questions. That if you ask a question as silly as the meaning of life, the universe, and everything, like the way I am right now, you might get silly answers like 42. Yes, classic. It's pretty good. It is pretty funny. I must admit, I like the premise. I didn't technically read the book. I listened to it as an audiobook, but it's better. It's better than the movies. They cut so much of like the stuff that adds depth to the movie and the absurdity of it all. Messing with timelines. If you could, would you mess with your own timeline? I would. I am cracked enough to think I can make things better. If I just could go back and let myself know to do this and this instead of that and that, then things better. But I don't think it works that way. I do think every single mistake I make, I have to make so that I can grow from it, so I can learn, so I can discover more of the meaning of life, as we say, right? Slowly but surely, digging into infinity with my mind. Fire. Magic fire thingy, Chriselle. Yeah. Yeah, now you know. Now you know what it is. It's relatively simple. I don't know if I made it sound complicated. It's relatively simple. Again, batteries, essentially a mini computer, and then electromagnet, which is just, coils. Hey, some coils. 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 All right, African man make fire with magic thingy is the original meme. It's true. You would technically be able to make fire with this, I think. It would be cumbersome. It would be extremely cumbersome. But you would, I think, be able to. You'll have to like be using kindling or something, like very fine kindling. It's not gonna be easy. Like the more I think of it, the more unlikely I imagine it actually being. I wouldn't want to try, I'll say. The point to me is to avoid fire completely. And the cool stuff about electromagnets is that they can take things from being completely metal to completely molten. Right? They do that. They do that. It's very cool. Very, very cool indeed. I'm suddenly imagining myself with electromagnetic powers and imagining what that looks like. And then there's the other part of my mind that goes, you already have electromagnetic powers. It's like, yeah, okay, okay, fine. It's technically true. Did you know that? You output electromagnetic waves from your brain, right? Detectable outside your skull. You know that? Are you thinking about that sometimes? Just a little bit? It's like I don't know what that means, Mel. It means literally, like actually, for reals, detectably so, you have influence outside of your body. Right? There's like outside of your body. Sure, you can touch stuff and manipulate. Sure. But you literally, your brain is outputting waves detectable outside your skull. It's crazy. What are we? The meaning of life unfolding as itself, always. Right? I don't know how I keep finding you. You keep being sent. You're on feet. This place is always the same. You know, in some ways. I always change, but some things don't. Love is true ultimately, right? That is what we show up for. Feel your lovely faces here with me. Thank you for the smiles you're sending. Smiles you're feeling. I am her son. Ah, that keeps explaining even more of it. Explains even more of it. Yours, the space is weird, dude. I admit that. Maybe you find it a little bit strange. I'm definitely not a conventional person, let's say. And I wonder about that sometimes, Bobby. Right? Like what does this look like to a person in the outside world? We're having this whole conversation about the meaning of life. Right? And then when I try and almost impress upon another person, especially if that person is potentially someone younger than me, that they are the meaning of life, how is that interpreted? Right? Can a child really hold what it is I'm trying to say? Are they better at holding it than the average adult would be? Probably. Makes sense to me. Right? They've had less time to convince themselves otherwise. It's interesting that this happened. During the yoga today, Rosie, Ryan's daughter, was practicing yoga as well. Right? And I found out only like after the practice was done that Rosie was there as well. It was just Ryan there, so I was like, "It's just me and you, Ryan." And he's like, "No, Rosie joined us too." And then we had a conversation, and it's been like 2 years since she was like vocal on stream or on the Zoom, and like you could already hear the changes of voice, right, in those 2 years. And then there was a conversation had about myself being an 8-year-old. And there was a conversation of Ryan where he was talking about, you know, his use of AI and how these tools have served him and how his daughter is like kind of staunch against it. She doesn't like the use of AI and the fact that it's going to play a role in our lives. And then we had a little bit of that conversation. And I think you're like 9 or 10 right now, aren't you, Bobby? Like when I was around her age, 8 to 10, your age, I guess, right? The world to me was still very much imaginative, if that makes sense, right? Like the grand future that I believed we could have, most of it was imagined. Most of the ideas I had about what robotics could look like in the world, it surely was, you know, like depicted in media as well. But again, it was depicted in media and then it had to be imagined in mind. It had to be conceptualized. It had to be felt as something that could one day be. And then you kids literally live in the world where it is, where it actually just is. It's not like you don't have to imagine. And maybe that's something that's sad, all right? It's because you get to look forward to less because you have more now, which is a weird paradox. But again, it's going to, I believe, force the young ones to become more creative than we can even imagine, right? Like, can you even imagine? By the time Rosie is like, what, done with high school, a decade had passed, right? Like, I imagine humanoid robots are the norm, right? Like, you'll rarely see people working service jobs. It's like, why would they do that? Do they like it? Yeah, they like it. Oh, that makes sense. Other than the robot should be doing that, obviously. I'm back. Look at you. I was having a little bit of a conversation with myself there, I guess. Bobby, bless you. It's nice having you here. Thank you for joining us. I don't know how I keep finding you. YouTube algorithms is another explanation. I do believe your mom probably is subscribed to my channel, which means that you're more likely to have this recommended than not. That could be it. And then because it's on shorts, I think YouTube has an incentive to show you something that garners a little bit more of your attention. Because shorts are like spin, 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 spin. And then by the time you're like 5 spins deep, right, your brain doesn't retain any of that stuff, that substance, right? If I had to ask you right now, can you tell me what you saw 10, 10 scrolls of the screen back, right? What was the context of that? What was the meaning, right? And then with a live stream, I believe that's maybe why YouTube is pushing it a little bit harder these days, is something that you at least get to be a part of, right? 5 minutes can pass and you can have a whole little exploration of a soul, a person in the world, you know, somewhere live right now, right? You get to be a little bit more sociable. You get a little bit closer to the humanity. I think. Maybe that's my own bias. It's nice. It's nice to have you friends here in the lives, always. Mm, yeah, that's the thing I was asking about. There you go. I've explained to you. Hey, I have a question, Melt. A person in your country at age 15 would be in which grade in school? Grade 9, ninth grade. 13 is when we finish primary school, grade 7, and then you turn 14 in your first year of high school here in South Africa. And then high school is grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. So 14s, well, 13s up to 18, essentially, as like an age group. Very, very, very strange group of people to put together. Because again, you basically go from being like a very small child, right, in primary school, and then you grow up because primary school is all the way from first graders to seventh graders. So the age group is now suddenly 6-year-olds to 13-year-olds. So 7-year gap as opposed to 5-year gap. So by the time you turn 13, you think you're so stacked, right? I'm so big compared to all of these other kids. And then you go to high school, and then it's again the same thing all over again, where there are these absolute towering behemoths. You know, what you think are big men. Oh goodness! I went to go and watch my sister's play at school the other day, and I did partake of some Dynavap beforehand, and then I sat and I watched, you know, high schoolers do drama and stuff. And there was one moment where the audio was not working for like minutes. Like imagine just sitting there, the person that wants to perform is already on the stage waiting for their backtrack. And then it's just like nothing happening. And I lean over to my dad and I go, it's in moments like these that I'm super grateful I smoke weed. And my dad cracks and he goes, you know, in this moment, I might ask you for some. Oh, it was wholesome. I was like that. That's one of the things that made the whole night better for me. But there was another conversation a little bit later where I leaned over to him and I told him, it's like it's dawning on me now how how much judgment there is in me. I said, especially so as it relates to realizing that all of these kids was me at one point in my life, right? Like having this limited perspective on what reality is going to be. And I could like see what in their behavior, what the lack of knowing looked like. I could see it. And again, maybe that's me casting judgment, but I was so aware because again, I don't get into those environments much these days. So like it was just the stark contrast of now as a 27-year-old man, 18-year-olds are now again the children, right? It's like it's this weird like fractal, and I didn't mention the whole fractal of like, and when you're a first grader, you see the seventh graders, and you're like, holy shit, these behemoths, right? I remember actually being scared of seventh graders, right? When I just went to school, I was like unironically scared of them because they were big enough to hurt me, but kids enough to get away with it, right? So I was like, these things are dangerous, so I need to watch myself. Became that think you're big child. Became 18, think you're big. Turn 27, realize child. And then again, right? I'm gonna turn 40 and I'm gonna look back at this version of me and consider myself so naive. So naive. Is that also the meaning of life? Just like constantly embarrassing yourself to yourself? I hope not. I hope that myself will at least look back at most of my actions and be like, you didn't hit you didn't hit every ball that came your way, but the ones that you hit, you know, went a long way. I need to stop making mistakes. Stop making stop making mistakes. Stop worrying about things. Right? That's the biggest mistake I make, if anything. It's just tripping myself up. I get my feathers ruffled. Me and Joe had a call a little bit last night, and there was a moment where I shared some of my HD PNG files with her. Let me show you one of the things that she made actually with them. Yeah, there it is. Joe manipulating some pixels in the background, right? But then I sent her those files, and they're very big, extremely big files. And Jovan, wanting to work as efficiently as possible, right? The bigger the files, the more added latency, right? Because if you have to think about a file as a bunch of arranged pixels, right? You can think of each of those pixels like a little brick. And each of those little bricks have to be carried, relatively speaking, right, through your whole computer system and then stacked on the screen as you're looking at it. And the more of those little bricks there are, the longer it takes to stack them. And there was this like kind of coy feathers getting ruffledness because in my world, all right, I want my files to be bigger. Like that's the best part, Joe. As soon as my software allows me to go into 8K, right, I'm gonna do that. I don't care if my flowers are now 120 megabytes big. I don't care that there's now literally 4 times as many bricks to carry for my computer. I don't care. I'm sorry, computer. You need to be strong. Gonna be a strong computer. Gonna carry fucking bricks. And like there's a certain meaning to life and seeing it that way. Efficiency versus doing it the hard way. Hey, John is here too. I'm gonna read the comments up top and then I'll get to yours, bro. Send you blessings. Mm-mm-mm. When two countries bleed, the third shows up with bandages, but for sale. Yeah. If there's a gold rush, get into the business of selling pickaxes, right? Or whatever. Kind of vibes. Miles, yeah. Your mom is the best and loves you bunches. I can get my mom. You can. I'll be right back. I'm back. Did you get your mom? No, I don't know. If you're here, Auntie, bless you. Closes door quietly behind me and tiptoes to my desk like the teacher won't notice. Oh, good day, lovelies. I've totally been here the whole time. What is the meaning of all of this life? This life, living me with purpose and intention. I never got to experience the whole feeling like the big kid experience. That's rough. Joe is a small person, not in a bad way. I don't know why I felt like I need to preface that, right? Like Joe comes in a small package. I grew up really fast when I turned 13. 13, 14. I literally grew 2 feet, I think. You're like, oh, that sounds unreasonable. Sounds unlikely. Yeah, yeah, my back. Oh goodness, my back knew how unreasonable it would be to grow that much so quickly. But surely there must have been some time, right? Maybe when you went to college, that's kind of big kid. I remember you telling me like having a little bit more autonomy. But now again, right, looking back at that version of yourself, you're like, oh, you should not have had autonomy. We should have been putting more guardrails. Bubble wrap that person harder. Oh, hey Fred, bless bro. Having met you, Jovan, I can understand why love is true. You have met her, Sam. You saw Sam. It's like I get it. Oh, brother Fractal actually had a whole trip about fear earlier. Yeah, fear, the mind killer. Getting your mind killed by fear. Can you imagine? That can't be the meaning of life. Oh, I can't imagine that. Sam, I've been eating my spinach and broccoli. One day I'll grow taller. Like how we humans are either in a state of love or in a state of fear, or a balance between the two knobs. And then the secondary knob, primal emotions, are sad, mad, or glad. Yeah, it does seem to be very rudimentary, very basic, almost insultingly so. I had a whole conversation yesterday, John. Maybe you should go and check that one out if you feel like this resonates with you and maybe what you need to be considering. But yesterday's conversation was about this balance between wants and needs, right? And the wisdom that I extracted from that topic was that by teaching yourself how to suspend your wants, you might actually end up with more of your needs, right? And it was a nuanced conversation. But it is one of those things where we get in our own way. We get in our own way more often than not by gatekeeping almost our experiences based on, does this make me sad, mad, or glad? If sad, mad, or glad, then yes, no, or maybe. All right. It's not it's not the best way to be at it. I am. Bye. Cheers. Bye. I will come again. Thank you. Good old Bubs. We'll see you, dear friend. Bless your mouse. That flower was 4 flowers layered on top of one another. I'm still playing around with them, slowly, reluctantly, keeping them as horrendously big as I can for you. Yes. Nice. The bigger the file, the. Oh! Oh, oh wow, Joe. Like I feel like I at first didn't properly clock that. I didn't properly notice so-sos. I realize now. But now looking at it with this even bigger one, right? I can one notice this like outer glow. You definitely did some outer glowy glowiness that I'm noticing. And then this is a flower, right, on top of a flower. And then this is a flower inside of the flower. It's very interesting. And I remember us talking about this, and I have done some stuff like that in my little window as well. The alignment was just something that I couldn't get perfectly because of the limitations of me software. But the thing that's most interesting to me is the way you use the numbers. All right, it's like it doesn't it doesn't immediately scream at me when I look at it immediately. Right, and I think because you're using 7 inside of a 9, the 7 inside of the 9 looks completely fine to me. But the 9 on top of the 8 makes me go ape. uh, but it doesn't. Like, I mean, obviously, it didn't immediately shout out at me. I think the first thing that I noticed was almost just like the outer perimeter limb. The more I look at it, the more I'm noticing. I imagine now being able to like rotate them and stuff, right? Different directions and stuffy stews. I'm being inspired by you. Holy wowzers. That sounds so absolutely lovely. I think I missed the context, but I'll get there. Mm, I'm waiting for the 2 petabyte flowers. Holy shit. Where there's a world you can walk around in. Exactly. Thank you, John. Exactly. The 2 petabyte flowers where those literal grooves will be buildings, right? Literal like the groove goes like this, and then it's like this is a whole building. You can like go inside the building and stuff, walk around it like a maze. I have the whole fractal of wanting to build cities that look like that from the top, right? Like as you fly over the city, you're like, is that a flower on the ground? Yeah, it is. Yes, yes, it's flowers. The way, like, and this is a Terence McKenna inspired dream of mine. Terence McKenna argued that we should build cities and infrastructure so lush and beautiful. He kind of likened it to like we should be growing our cities and stuff, right? And I agree with that. But but he mentioned it from this perspective that if aliens had to come to visit Earth, they would mistaken all of our infrastructure for the thing that is the creature, right? It wouldn't think that there are humans on the planet. It would just see this beautiful, like, vine with these flowers, right? And then a vine that is, like, again, infrastructure or who knows, districts that go and then a new flower that grows on the planet's surface. And then it's like the aliens come and it's like, oh, hello, flower creature, hello. Waves at Earth. And then the flowers go, communicates in like light pulses. And then they're like, oh, wow, these creatures are very sophisticated. They have colonized their entire planet. This flower creature. Meanwhile, it's us human beings living in the flowers. Like, yeah, yes, Mother Nature's. We honor you. Oh, Sam Dam! We got another Sam! Lock in. That's gonna be another bingo card thing one day, Sam. It's like extra Sams in chat. Oh, love is true. Thank you, Sam, for joining us. Mm-mm-mm. Prairie, how have you been? Let's not forget my most prominent primal emotion, curiously confused. Hi, JVB. Busy harvesting from my little garden, canning and freezing. I'm baking applesauce. Making. Making applesauce. My house smells amazing. Thanks. You're doing well. Sounds absolutely lovely. The asymmetrical balance. I thought that would ruffle your feathers. Consider my feathers ruffled. but, but I haven't exploded. I haven't spontaneously combusted. Right? Like as soon as you said there are flowers inside the flowers, I was like, huh. And then as soon as I noticed that the lines, because like this is the other thing, and maybe you knew this as well. But you know me, right? And we were talking about feather ruffling, so I'm not surprised, and I'm not complaining at all. But you notice how these lines are also all right. And that was that's the first thing that I noticed. I was like, very nice. Those lines, those lines are not aligned. Why? 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 And you know what the best part is, Joe? Like I've messed with the asymmetrical ones a few times, and then every time I do, I'm like, yeah, asymmetry can also be nice. It can be, and then I go right back to symmetry. I'm not missing a beat. It's like, oh yes, was nice while it lasted. Asymmetry. I'll be going back to it. Look so close to a Julia set fractal. Hey Google, what is a Julia set fractal? It's working again.
A Julia set is a type of fractal generated by iterating the function f underscore c of z equals zt the power of 2 plus c for a fixed complex number c. A point z is in the Julia set if its orbit, or the sequence of values produced by repeatedly applying the function, remains bounded. The precise shape of the fractal changes with the value Oyo of c, and they are intimately related to the Mandelbrot set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. The Mandelbrot Buddha. Go and search that video. It's sick. It's very cool. We are the Mandelbrot, dear friends. The infinity, infinitely unfolding on and into itself, and out of itself, and alongside itself. There is no separation, after all. Right? We keep saying that. The flower you showed is gorgeous. A city like Akon City in Africa. No, not like Akon City in Africa. Again, right? Like the way that I want to do it at first is like on the oceans. I want to do it on the oceans because then we can make like small little flowers, barely visible from space, little flowers. And then those flowers can grow. They can become bigger and bigger, right? Until they're kind of visible from space. And then they're very visible from space. Right? I want to build a new Atlantis. Again. I get that that sounds like absolute batshit insanity. Maybe it is. Maybe I don't have to do it alone. Ideally, please send me help, universe. Send me as help to someone else that's already doing it. However you do. Do you like maths? I like Mandelbrot kind of math, right? Recursive functions. I like Euclidean geometry. Uh, I like quantum theory, but I don't know if I like math, right? It's more like the math serves the function of letting me think in novel ways instead of liking the math itself, right? I don't think I'm very good at math, full disclosure. I think maybe it could be if I actually applied myself, but I had this sneaking suspicion. And this sounds like, again, and I've said this before, and every time I say it, it sounds like I'm being full of shit. But this is really the way that it like felt to me experientially as a young person. I had this sneaking suspicion that the math was wrong. I just couldn't commit. I was like, the math that they were trying to teach us at the very least, right? Like most of the math that I just discussed, we didn't actually touch. We didn't touch fractal geometry. We didn't touch Euclidean geometry. We didn't touch quantum theories. Like none of that stuff we touched in high school. All of the stuff that we touched was just like, oh, gross, like bad. this is not nice. This doesn't serve the way I think, right? It was very linear. I think that was the thing. The math that we were taught was very linear, and my thinking wasn't. And I just couldn't vibe with it. I was like, yeah, this is kind of trash. This is trash. If you want to get stuff done in a linear fashion, right, as an engineer technically is supposed to, it it works great, right? Provable. However, the way that I think and the things that I like to apply myself to, uh, it's more an obstacle than anything. Maybe a good one. Stopgap. You've done this stream topic already. I've done many of the same stream topics, Cat. I've done 1,695 live streams. You try and come up with 1,695 unique topics, not repeating a single one in the meantime. You try do that. I'll clap hands. I'll balance ball on my nose. Damn it. Oh, it looks so close to Julia, said Fractal Bless. The processing phase out of sync flicking is still the best. I'm happy to be a character, John. Yeah. Yeah. Lean into the mirrors people hold up to me. Look so close. Do you like maths? What grades do you get for trigonometry and pre-calculus? I think the best grade I got was like a C. That's like 70s, right? I think the best grade I ever got was a C. That was the one time that I actually tried to study. I was like, okay, maybe I'll like try. And then I tried, and then I got a like C, I think a C plus. And then I was like, oh, math is in fact easy. And then I proceeded to not try again. Unfortunately. And this is not me giving advice. I would of course wish I would like desperately beg upon myself as a young man, like, can't you just like try a little bit? And then upon begging, the young version of me was like, nah, actually, I've considered all of the options, and trying seems hard. This version of me tries harder because I didn't back then, at the very least, right? I think it's like an applying metric. It's like I realized that it would give me a certain leverage to try and move that bar, but I had to get my own stick. Ekaterina, this is a space where we are constantly rehashing shit because our knowledge base changes over time. These big questions need revisiting, and often. Thank you, Sam. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And it's true, right? The version of me that has covered this topic before, in whatever way I covered it, is not the same version of me that wants to cover it right now. Right? Today, this version of me was inspired to cover the topic of meaning as it relates to loneliness. Right? As it related to the adventure show, as it related to a YouTuber who did a video on one of the episodes. Right? Like, I don't know what inspired last time's talk on meaning, but it wasn't that. And that is the thing that makes this stream as beautiful as it is to me, at the very least. It's the fact that this is the active exploration of what meaning is to us, what brings meaning into our lives. And then I try as best as I can to bring that meaning into your lives as well alongside. It is an honor to be able to. Thank you for giving me your time. And then the flowers declare world domination. People have been foolishly fearing AI robots and aliens, but no one suspects total flower domination. Yeah, that's what I'm banking on, John. That's what I'm banking on. It's like people are gonna be so caught up drone warning each other that by the time they wipe the I'm trying to make a drone war related joke. By the time they wipe the shattered debris from their eyes, I have already taken the world by surprise. It's like, holy shit, things are nice. How did this happen? I thought we were bombing each other. It's like, yeah, well, you were bombing each other. We were spending money on building stuff. You know, it's almost like that's more valuable. Because when you spend money on bombing each other, I don't know if you know this. This is something I recently discovered, right? And I've been in been like as much as I can trying to consciously evolve in all of the different metrics that this life presents to me. And one of them is the economy, right? And how these economic systems work and what it is that motivates economic spending and what is like how can I facilitate, right, some of that flow towards myself. And in this active exploration, one of the things that came to me recently is the fact that war, right, the military as it is right now, will buy weapons with their budget. And again, they have to spend their budget, otherwise, their budget gets cut because clearly they had more money than they knew what to do with. So the fact that they spent all of their money means that they might get more money next year because clearly they had not enough money, right? And then they spend all of this money building weapons of war. And then those weapons of war technically have asset value, as in big jet plane, shoot missile fast, worth X amount of dollars. And then 10 years, 20 years, 50 years pass, and then those things depreciate as well. However, I don't know if they have insurance on those things as well. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of bullshittery like that as well. They send these things into war. They blow them up, right? They have them shot out of the sky. They like literally destroy their own weapons so that they can justify the replacement, the refacilitation, the restocking of their inventories, right? And then by restocking their inventories, they now have the modern tech, and then it starts the whole 40-year cycle all over again. And when I when I absorbed that fact, I was like, holy shit, how contrived is this system that we're in at this point where you can make so much money selling stuff to the government, obscene amounts of money. And I don't know if that's going to change. I don't actually think it will. I don't know. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And that like boggles my mind. That's why I'm such a staunch advocate for like cryptocurrency technologies, and thank goodness that is also being adopted. It's kind of like ruffles my feathers that it's being co-opted. They're trying to make the most of what they know is the coming change, right? Which I cannot blame them for. It's just kind of funny how it's happening, right? That being said, the way the world is going seems to be the way of posturing, you know? A bunch of posturing. And I would like to believe that we're posturing right now because we're in very uncertain times. All right, it's like it's a symptom. It's a symptom of all of the uncertainty our species is facing right now because every person and their mom can feel there's something coming. Right? Some people believe the aliens are on their way, even. Some people believe the aliens are coming 2027. How about that? Right? I don't know exactly what the change is going to look like. I have been predicting many different types, all right? Many different conversations have been had and the likes, but I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. However, I'm trying to prepare myself as much as I can by showing up every single day for the same things that I know is going to be valuable when our future comes. Right? When the future arrives, this great future that we can all imagine for ourselves, we're still going to need to be able to communicate. We're still going to have the ability to express ourselves and speak our minds, hear the other person speak theirs. We have a lot of change ahead of us. But again, some things won't. Some things won't change. And you can find some comfort in reminding yourself of that. Today's stream topic is, after all, about finding the meaning of it all, right? Find the meaning in it all. Maybe should have been the title instead. I wasn't arguing, just saying I've seen most of these. You watch all of my live streams? I hope they've been helping. I hope the conversations we have been mind expansive, little by little. But today you are here. You could be anywhere else, but you're here. Maybe there's something in this video today that you can take away with you. Have a child. You'll get motivation. Prairie wolf. That is not bad advice, I can imagine. I think it would probably motivate me. But I have set out this intention that the question of having children will only really be on my radar of discussion when I'm 35. Right, I'm 27 right now. I don't think it would be wise or appropriate for me to consider having kids before that time. I still have a lot to establish, right? Certain things need to be on lock before I can even start to think about that. And again, right, I am motivated, I'm pre-motivated to make sure that when I do bring a child into this world, they'll have everything that they need. Moon, people inviting you to other modes of life does not need to be met with hostility. You do what you do. When someone invites you to try meth or something, smile and politely say, no, thank you. That's so nice of you, but I have to politely decline. Thanks, though, Mr. Gas Station Meth Head. That's so nice. I'm gonna get my big slurp or whatever. I don't know what you get. I'm gonna get my big slurp now. Shots. I always deny their advice, but they again and again show up with their shitty advices. I think I might be missing some context. Let me see if I go to all messages. Yeah, I was missing some context. Bro, why is everyone in my surrounding interested in knowing what I want to do? And they're giving out that shitty advice that drives me crazy. I want to say fuck you all to them, but I can't. Yeah, that's rough, bro. I get where you must be coming from. When you're at the age that you're at, right? And Moon Knight has given us some context clues that he's been studying hard to get into a good university, which means that he's around the 17, 18 year range. That's like the age group where most people are going to be asking you questions like, what are you going to do with your life? What is the question? Interested in knowing what I want to do. Yeah. That's literally, because again, that's the reality norm we have created for ourselves, is that you are child, and then you stop being child when you're 18, and now you need to know what to do with your life, all right? Which is the most batshit insane, unreasonable as like ask of humanity ever, right? And it never used to be that way. And because we have become so hyper specialized, right? And because we have these career paths and because we have these earning ambitions, we expect ourselves to have all of these plans laid out, right, ourselves. And then that self expectation becomes extended onto, the lives of others as well. Dear friend, I am terribly sorry that you're going through that. People, forgive them for they know not what they do kind of vibes. Moon Knight. They are also just as stuck as you are, bro. They literally don't know what to say, right? They don't know what to say either. They're also having a hard time right now, probably. Oh, no, 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 no. All right. Think I'm caught up on chat. We've already had an hour pass. It's almost time for me to show you a flower, read you a poem, and then say you a goodbye. I wrote 2 poems today. One of the poems are posted in Zora. A little bit more related to the changing of seasons, the 4 reasons. That is very nice. But it's punching me in the face a little bit. Just a wee bit of getting punched in the face. Just like a gentle getting Mike Tyson. Just woke up. Hey Sandra. Bless your Nancy friend. We have exceeded our hour mark, it's true, but we're still here. Nice to meet you. Always. Thank you for joining us, dear friend. It's time for me to show you some flower, read you some poem. Just a random, wavy out there question. Do you think if civilization as we know it resets and all records are lost, except for your streams, how would that be perceived by a species that's forgotten? That is a interesting, wavy, hypothetical question. Like I imagine it being like a I'm forgetting the movie's name now suddenly even. That Jim Carrey movie where he's like basically the world's entertainment. Why is that movie's name escaping me? You know which one I'm talking about. But I think it would be something like that, bro, where it would suddenly be like a very like zeitgeist of the mind, where it might be something stable. I think people would actually not like me as much as they potentially like. Again, like this is my own bias. This is my own personal bias. I would appreciate it more if I was being very subjective with reality, where every single day at the start of stream, I just kind of like told you everything as it is. This and this is happening, so and so is going on. You know, these tensions are brewing, and then maybe I would like talk about my own stuff. And then, if civilization had to only have that as a resource, it might be more valuable. If civilization only had me as a resource, it might just show them a certain way of being, right? If reality falls apart as we know it, would I, would the world be a worse place if reality was modeled on what they see in these streams? I think people would be maybe potentially a lot less active in all of the ways that we potentially could be. But at the same time, I don't think I've been communicating or displaying abject laziness in this space either. Right? I am definitely advocating for the middle way where be motivated, be very motivated, have ambition, but at the same time, realize that you're still, at this point, at the very least, dealing with a human body that has certain limitations. Right? The thing I am doesn't really like accepting that. It's like, what do you mean limitations? What do you mean? Starts conspiring to inject me with gene editing, to implant me with computer interfaces, to replace my heart with titanium. It's like, please, please, please let me human just for a little longer. I should just allow myself to really appreciate it, actually. Mm. Maybe that will be the craziest part of it, is that this will be a story of change always. I'll change. Where I'll be will change. What I'll be doing will change, probably. Things will become more and more nuanced, more and more deep. I'll find myself wanting to apply attention and light to a certain project, and things will get done. Things that I might not have done before. I do want to have like something like that as well as a part of our journey, because the way that I do things becomes very dense, right? It's where I start doing something and then it just becomes like a part of my existence, right? And that means that the longer I make something a part of my existence, the more density I gain in significance, right? Like the yoga, I became a yoga teacher and I started giving a yoga class. And now, as a result, in the last 3 years, I've probably missed maybe 5 days in the last 3 years where I didn't do yoga. And that's because I was on the road or something, like some bad excuse again. But technically, 5 days in 3 years that I wasn't actively practicing yoga, right? And again, that has been very meaningful to me, and I believe that it's helped me and contributed to my well-being a significant amount. Same thing with the live streams. At this point, not yet, but we're pushing tens of thousands of hours. We're getting close to, I think, the 10,000 hour mark of showing up in this way. That's a lot of density. Then there's the flowers, right? And the amount that we've made of those, the the soul that went into all of the words alongside them as well. The meaning that I was trying to portray, all of the density in that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with applying myself that way. However, I do think I need to allow myself to make, I don't want to say shallow things, but a little bit more seasonal things, right? Where, again, I apply myself to a certain project and then I make it. And then after I make it, it's made, right? I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense. It's like I want to break out of my own patterns as well, I guess. I think I have. But again, I break out of my patterns and then I just add more density and other patterns. Like the Zora fractal is the newest iteration where it's just been like, oh wait, breaking my old patterns, right? Because there was a certain way that I would spend my time. And then suddenly I find myself really locking in. Like the last week, I probably spent 24 hours just doing my art, right? And not the actual art making process, but like the cutting out process, making them a little bit more, I want to say, finished, right? Getting that final product kind of vibes. So yeah, density. Maybe my computers will help me eventually. Like computers are really good at handling density Enhance. But sir, enhance. I said enhance. Sir, there's only so many pixels. I enhance them and enhance it right now. The best part is, John, like the actual future, enhance will be a real thing. It will be called AI upscaling, but it will be enhanced. So we're gonna be freaking enhanciums. I don't know if it'll be good because again, if you're trying to like enhance a blurry face because it's like 5 pixels on a screen from like a distance away, it's like you're speculating. You're like squinting your eyes and trying to give a description of what you think you're seeing as a computer. So it might not actually be usable, but you can enhance. You can enhance that blob until it looks like a person. It might not be the person that was actually standing there, but it'll be a person. Truman Show. Thank you, Prairie Wolf. Yeah, why did that one escape me? I think it escaped me because I have been meaning to watch Bruce Almighty, and I haven't watched it yet. And I was wanting to say that one, but I was like, that's not the movie that I'm talking about. And then because Bruce Almighty was the thing taking up my buffer space, Truman Show just couldn't come to me. Thank you, appreciate it. Oh, Moon. I think I missed some up top. Missed a bunch even. There we go. I am in grade 10. I want my family to allow me to enjoy my time. I don't want to become a display of grades, and I'm only 15. So asking me what my plans for another 10 years drives me crazy. Yeah, bro. That's a valid thing to feel. Like when I was 10 years ago for me is when I was 17, right? And the 17-year-old version of me had no idea where I would be right now. Not even an inkling. Moon, my advice. Try your best to not accrue debt. Very good advice. Take time to meet and learn yourself deeply. Balance your time management, making sure you and your space are equally cared for and loved. Thank you, Joe, for sharing that. That's super wholesome. I'm sorry, but the child remark melt. What I mean was that was a big motivating factor in my life. Ah, I wasn't offended. I hope you understand. You said peace. I don't know if you left. No, you're still here. You're still here. I can completely get that. Right. I really do. It's like some people have their lives saved, by a child as well. Mm, Moon. There's so much out there that we can't control. Don't let that discourage you. Don't let it drain your energy. Point your focus toward setting yourself up for success subtly, and things will get better slowly but surely as you grow trust and confidence in the one thing taking care of you. You. And she's like smack dab right on the bullseye with that as well, Prairie Wolf. Like really listen to her words, especially so with the whole trust, right? The thing that you need to do, that's gonna be the thing you need to earn right now. It's just like people's trust. It show up in a way where people trust that you have skills, right? That you have the capacity to be emotionally open, that you have the ability to be trusted with their resources, with their attention, with their effort, right? Like that's your job right now as well as a young person. It's just earn people's trust because that's the only thing that people can really give you, right? First, people have to give you their trust first before they give you anything else. Maybe that's a lesson to remember. You got this, even if it takes time to get through it at the other end. You'll get through stronger and even wiser. It's true. Thank you, Anjavan. I really appreciate your advice as it helps me deal with different problems. You're stronger than you know, bro. You got this. Let's again. I believe in you. You want to break free of Plato's cave. I do believe all of us would like to believe that we are the person outside of it. He's shouting inside, no, it's not reality you're looking at. But ultimately, the fact that we are convinced of our 3D reality is the shadow, right? This is the shadow that I cast as a spirit in this three-dimensional world. Right? So it's not even a matter of like trying to escape the cave. It's like you are the cave. You are the source of light. You are the shadows on the wall. You are the people looking at them. Right? But the fact that you are convinced that there is separation, that there is a light source, that there is a thing casting a shadow, that there is a person watching it. That is our allegory of the cave, right? That is the fourth dimensional layer or fifth dimensional layer probably, of that fractal. I don't think there's much for us to do other than try and find the light. Realize that it is inside ourselves, right? Like in the allegory of the cave, there is still kind of like going outside to discover the real world, where in our allegory of the cave, there is going inside to discover the real world. Realizing that you've never been separated from it. It is a little bit of a hard sell, admittedly, because again, the notion that you can find more happiness than all the riches can ever give you sitting on a rock by your ace isn't really that shiny to most people. Because again, right, like just imagine the amount of effort, the amount of ego we've put into the acquisition of stuff, right? And the amount of belief that we've assigned to our acquisition of stuff and to what that says about us. And then to be told that actually the happiest you could ever be is just finding contentment sitting on a rock. That is the happiest you'll be. That you won't get happier by having more stuff. That rock sitting, just staring out into the distance, having your needs met, at the very least. That's gonna be maximum happiness for you. It's like I don't even want to believe it. I want to be like, no, I'll be happier if I achieve stuff. Will you? Will you, myself? The thing that I know, right? I can't tell myself I'll be happier. I can't know that. What I can tell myself is other people will be happier. And I'm like, geez, that's true. That's true. If I sit on rock and do nothing, I'll be max happy, max content. Nothing can perturb me. I am. I just am. But if I make stuff, I can add value to the lives of others. I can bring happy into the world of another person. Maybe another person could find happy in seeing me sit on rock. Maybe. But I'm biased. I like pretty stuff. Me sitting on a rock is going to get old eventually. Surely. Okay. I'm done. Thank you, friends, for coming to my TED Talk. You are the meaning of life, remember. That is the lesson. Thanks, Mel, and everyone here. Bless you, Frank. Can't wait until we can enhance our own senses, hearing and sight, most of all, like past the frequencies that we can hear and the light spectrum that we can see, when we actually break our human interaction and our ability to interface and identify that that's already within reality. So what I imagine is going to happen is we're going to go techno layer, like having very sophisticated shades with cameras on them, and then very sophisticated, like laser guided, little mini mirror laser guided into our eyeball depth perception labeling, where we're going to become very sophisticated on what reality is, and almost like our own little scientists kind of vibes. And then we're gonna like go beyond, and then that stuff's gonna happen, John, where we're suddenly going to be like, oh, okay, if reality is so very well understood, what do I think of reality when I can see in spectrums of, light that the average human being can't? And then suddenly there's now a whole new realm of reality available to you. And I don't think we're going to just enhance. I think we're going to like give ourselves the ability to like switch it on and off. Because just having it on all the time might be a little bit jarring. Might be a bit much. I think that I'd like first is just better vision. Yeah. When we crawled up on land, our eyes had to evolve new conditions, and they were never better than when we all lived underwater as fish. Yeah, that's the first thing that I like to say to Joe as well. It's just like that's one of the first things. It's like I want all of our eyes to be better. Mine got much, much worse. Like every time I think about it, I'm a little irritated with evolution. Like for real, bitch. Humans grew and got rid of a bridge in between spawns, but you can't fix our eyes. Get off your ass. It's hard. Eyes are hard, yo. And I like my eyes. You're doing a good job, my eyeballs. Thank you, my eyeballs said to myself. I'm gonna eyeballs better. I'm gonna like mildly have this red light exposure. Yes. Thank you, my eyeballs, for being the bestest Estes eyeballs. That's the bestest Estes. And when there is technology that I can inject into my eyeballs to make them even better, I will do so. There's already technology like that. I don't know if you know that. Did you know that? Go and do some research. There is CRISPR technologies where they inject essentially healthy genes into people with atrophied eyes. And then their eyes align with what the genes say. It's like, actually, the gene says you have good eyes. And then the eyes are like, all right, you heard what the gene said. Guess we're good now. And then people just get their eyesight back. Like for months. Like actual long lasting change. And I know that the way that I'm presenting this information might be like, yeah, surely that's a joke. No. Think I'm joking? Think I'm fucking joking? Tell me about that CRISPR study where they injected healthy genes into people's eyes, helping restore eyesight. So, evolution is off its ass, is what I'm saying, Sam. So, what was the study? The brilliance. It's called brilliance. Like a brilliance in your eyeballs. Exactly. The brilliance trial. CRISPR for Leber congenital amaurosis. Amaurosis. Thank you. What they did, researchers used CRISPR-based gene editing medication called Edit 101. So they do it. Oh, we're back again. So, study is called Brilliance. You got that? So, the researchers used CRISPR based gene editing medication called Edit 101. They injected this therapy under the retina of one of the eyes in each participant. Who participated? The trial included 14 individuals, 12 adults aged 17 to 63, and 2 children aged 9 and 10 to 14, suffering from CLA, Leber congenital amaurosis. CRISPR offered more precise way to splice or edit the faulty gene directly within the body. What were the results? The first of its kind. This was the first time CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing was delivered directly inside the human body, specifically into the eye. 11 out of the 14 participants, and 80%, experienced measurable improvements in at least one vision outcome. 6 participants, 43%, improved in 2 or more outcomes, and 4 participants, 30%, saw clinically meaningful improvements in visual acuity, meaning that they could better identify objects or letters on a chart afterwards. The real life gains. Some participants describe being able to see their phone light up, spot their coffee machine icon, or find misplaced items simpler. Simply yet powerful changes. Safe and well tolerated. There has been no adverse events linked to the treatment or the procedure. Mild to moderate side effects were resolved and no dose limiting toxicities occurred. The children's success. The two children treated experienced a 10 to 100-fold improvement in visual ability. Can we just like go like, wow! Yo! Yo, can you imagine? Can you imagine being a freaking 10-year-old? Your eyes are already wrecked. You can already not see. You're 10 years old. And then you are born in this age. And there's something called CRISPR-Cas9. We literally hijacked some virus's defense mechanism to code ourselves, right? And then we code our eyeballs. And then that child has a tenfold, 10 to 100-fold improvement in eyesight. I want to lose my mind just thinking about it. Paradigm shifting. This trial isn't just a beacon of scientific progress, it's a message of hope. Injecting healthy genes directly into the retina via CRISPR had some form of congenital signals that some forms of congenital blindness might no longer be permanent. So again, right, this isn't talking about improving eyesight, which is easier on the spectrum of things to do, right? This is talking about people that literally have congenital blindness, getting their eyesight back. It's like blind people are getting to see. Proof of concept. These results show that in vivo, CRISPR gene editing can be both safe and effective in treating inherited blindness. That lays the groundwork for expanding CRISPR applications to other genetic eye diseases and potentially beyond. Moving forward, the trial has paused enrollment as researchers plan the next steps, such as refining the dosages, expanding participant groups, and testing younger patients, and improving the outcome measurements. Can we just get like a little bit like, wow, like a wow, like a wow, a little bit of hype in our souls just thinking about that? That must inspire you just a little bit. Give me that good super soldier serum for eyeballs and eardrums. That was me. I was 10 when I got these binoculars. Yeah, we're gonna get you the good eyes. What? The extra good eyes is extra? Fine. Put on the extra good eyes. It's fine. Doesn't matter. But sir, it's twice as. I don't care. See me flinching? Extra good eyes. Get them. Oh, GBs. The world is a beautiful place. All of us deserve to see it. Right. I even have it cracked enough in my mind that I want to be able to like give stuff for free. Injecting people's eyeballs is going to be a little bit. It's a little bit rough though. This is yesterday's flower. The orange peel being held by the pure pill. Zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom, 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 zoom. Hey, them hard eyes. All right. Today's poem went something like needs first, wants later. Wants shout, needs whisper. The trick is listening long enough to hear quiet voice. Water, rest, breath, a hand to hold. Meet a need and the world softens. Meet another and tomorrow opens. Once will return clearer, brighter, no longer frantic. Flowers growing from roots you finally water. This is the balance, to choose what sustains, to trust what endures, to sacrifice glitter for gold. And in that rhythm, steady, simple, true, we discover hope isn't found, it's built, one need at a time. The future belongs to those who keep showing up, leaning into reality until reality leans back with open arms. I appreciate you, friends, for joining me in these moments, looking at this flower. So powerful. This one is nice, must say. It has one of those where it's like, bonk. You grabs the eyes, especially from a distance away. Satisfied. I'm looking forward to making it better. Even better. Make it betterer. Bettererest. I need to make some that are actually 2 and single geometry cutouts. I don't think I'm going to do it a lot, but I think I need to do it now. Ugh. I've been doing a countdown. We do a countdown / count up every single day with the Patreon, but I've been a little bit sporadic about it on the Zora. And since the flower that I first posted after my chain of reality, it makes sense if you know what I'm talking about. Totally makes sense. Makes perfect sense. I started with 9, and we posted day 4 today. I already have some lined up on day 3, but number 2 and number 1 is still missing. So I thank you, friends, for joining me. I appreciate you sharing in this space, for appreciating some South African sunset here alongside me. Kobe is terrorizing the freaking cows in the background. Dude is crazy. Love you, friends. Thank you for joining me. Always a pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow.